Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to my over-the-board tournament here in December of 2025. For those of you that have been following my channel for quite some time, you know that I was supposed to play a tournament in Mexico. That ended up not happening because the day I went to the airport, there was a snowstorm. So I decided that I would play a tournament here in New York City. It's the local club championship of the famous Marshall Chess Club. If you do live in New York City or New Jersey, Connecticut, and you are an adult that wants to play chess, you should try the Marshall Chess Club. They have, or a kid, if you're a kid. I mean, there's no better place. Do check it out. It's where I grew up playing chess. And this is the second round recap. I won my first game, and the thumbnails are going crazy for these recaps. This game was very fun. It featured a moment where there were 3 rook sacrifices happening at the same time. So that was very exciting. It also featured an absolutely idiotic moment later on, which not between myself and my opponent, but because of a commotion that happened in the room. And this is the beautiful thing about playing, you know, these local club tournaments where everybody's jam-packed into the same environment. And, you know, I grew up playing chess like this, and I will take you through, I will take you through the game. I'll take you through what happened. And, you know, I told myself when I couldn't, you know, when I ended up not going to Mexico, like I gotta lock in for this tournament here. So for this round, I am playing somebody named Elliot Goodrich. He has the name of a esteemed, you know, 20th century philosopher. Oh, did you read the Elliot Goodrich paper? Anyway, he's 12. This is a 12-year-old kid. Fun fact, when I went to prepare for Elliot, I found his chess.com account on which he plays a bunch of silly openings, and it was not helpful. But his username, which is publicly available, I am not doxing him, you can look it up. His username on chess.com was I have no riz, which I was like, from the very beginning, I was like, I'm playing a legend. Like, I don't know anything about this dude. But you know, he's just one of these kids from New York. He goes to one of these like good schools here in New York, and I know of him. And I played c4. I played the English. I was ready. I was ready for whatever he was going to bring. I was expecting maybe a Grunfeld defense, but he went c6, and I was like, what? This I was not expecting. I thought about actually playing e4 because I didn't think he played a Caro-Kann. I sat next to him like a couple of weeks ago, and he played e4, e5 as black. And I was like, if I play e4, is he going to know what he's doing? And then I was like, you know what? Knight f3, knight f6, b3, like whatever. Let's, you know, I'm better than this kid. No disrespect, Elliot. Maybe you disagree. But I was like, I'm going to win. Like whatever happens, right? He played d5. I went bishop b2. He went bishop f5. Very normal. I have many options here, and I just went g3. The computer thinks that black is touch better here, but it's equal. He went e6, and I was always looking at going knight h4. There's a really nice way to lose the game here, which is quite funny. Knight h4, bishop e4. I thought that there's f3, bishop takes b1. And I was like, sorry, what am I talking? Oh my God, I'm so stupid. No. With the bishop on g2. So bishop g2, and then here, knight h4, bishop e4, f3. Whoops. Because I'm trying to win the, you know, get the second bishop. This would be a nice way to lose the game. That did not happen, shockingly. I was looking at a lot of different stuff, but I went d3 because with the bishop on f5, there's all these moments you can play the move e4. I've had this position with black as well. I was like trying to remember, this was last year in Italy. h6, bishop h7. Elliot thought for a long time here and went a5, and I was like, I don't think that's a very good move. I think it's a little rushed. Now I have many options. I mean, what I should have done here is I should have just castled instantly without even thinking, because I don't actually know where I want to move this knight. But then I was like, then I need to look at a4, sacking the pawn and whatever, and if I had more experience in these positions, which I don't, I would have just castled. But I went knight c3. I don't think there's anything really wrong with this move. And here Elliot spent 6 minutes and went queen b6. And I was like, there is no way the move queen b6 is a good move. It just doesn't make any sense. Queen b6 does nothing, and also does not develop. So the king is going to be stuck in the center for at least 2 turns. At least. Well, I guess 1 and the second turn to castle. So the very first thing that crossed my mind with the king in the middle was, well, I can open up the position, but I should probably castle, right? I should probably castle. So I castled pretty quickly, and now my next plan was depending on where he's going to go, which is bishop e7. Now I'm thinking, what if we just blow open the position? He wants to castle. What if I don't let him castle? My first idea was to play e4, pawn takes, knight takes, bishop g7, and rook g8, and then bring my bishop back. And actually, that would have been a good idea. I misevaluated this position. I actually like saw all of this, like something like bishop c3. I didn't actually think I was doing so great here. I thought I was justifying his queen. I thought I was actually giving him some play. I thought maybe, no, this just poor evaluation skills on my part, just out of practice. You would think, oh, I took his pawn and, he can't castle. Somehow I convinced myself that like this position is okay for black, which I don't know. Whatever. Another idea is to do pawn takes and then do the exact same thing, which I should have done. Here I'm still getting into form, but literally your position is so good with white, you can just completely explode the center, and this is a better position for white because you have better development, better safe king. As I'm sitting here in front of you and wondering why I didn't play CD e4, I'm getting more annoyed at myself than I thought. Another option was knight to h4. This all looked good, just going for the bishop. And then if he goes here, just, chasing the bishop away. And I was like, should I go for this? And then, should I take the bishop? I figured I was better, but... Well, what did I do? Everything looked good, so I played something that was bad. I thought for 18 minutes, calculated e4, pawn takes in e4, knight h4, and I was like, I'm just going to go queen c2 and play e4 on the next move. I'm going to prepare e4. I'm my own worst enemy. I'm being too dynamic. No, I should have freaking done it. But when you're not playing exactly your best, you play stupid stuff like queen c2. Queen c2 is not stupid, but it's really difficult. So there is the therapy part of these recaps where I just kind of get things off my chest. There is the analyzing the game, and then there is like the takeaways, right? And when I analyze the game, I want you to also analyze your games correctly. In chess, you can have specific moments you should have done something, specific concepts, and then there are moments that are not specific. There are moments where you use a general concept, you wrap something with a general thing for the future. So here, moves like pawn takes and e4, which are very aggressive moves, they are very forcing and aggressive moves, keeping these moves in mind when your opponent has yet to castle and has put their pieces on slightly poor squares, which allow you to take advantage of the moment now, is how you get to play, moves like cd and e4. Queen c2 is just a little too slow. He actually thought of a really clever thing here. He went h6, which allows me to go e4, and even here I should have taken before I went e4. But again, this was very, very, very superficial logic. I thought about taking, but I didn't take and then play e4 because I was like, why would I put my queen on c2 and then open the c file? That doesn't make any sense. What? Why would I allow him to pressure my knight and my queen, which in some ways makes sense, and in other ways it doesn't make any sense, because this can be used for the knight. The knight could go there, and that's a very concrete reason. Anyway, we went for this position, and right away I was like, oh god, I have nothing here. Nothing at all. My original plan was to play queen e2 and e5, and that doesn't even work, because he plays knight c5, and e5 runs into this, which apparently is not even the move. Wow, just knight d7. Incredible. So I went knight a4, and he equalized with b5. And I was pretty annoyed at myself, but I was like, you know what? I still think I'm a better player than him, so I'm going to outplay him from this position. That's what we're going to do. We're going to outplay him. Because, even though we screwed up, which, not playing, at a minimum, knight h4, getting the second bishop, but at a maximum, e4 or cd in e4, very annoying. Really need to get a little bit of my mojo back. The thing is now, black is completely fine, and black is in time with all the counterplay against my position. So I traded the knights, I took, and I went back. And I was like, look, I have nothing, right? He castles, the position is completely equal. I'm also down a little bit on time, credit to him. He was playing pretty quickly and making many faces. He made many faces. Elliot's faces ranged from I smell bad to I'm playing terribly, meaning his thoughts about me, to he just had a perpetually unhappy look on his face at some point. I was like, what am I doing? Is it me? Is it him? He went, and then I went queen d3, and you know, the idea here is that he can counter me. I'm going to take this pawn, and then he's going to end up winning this pawn. So I took the pawn. He took here and offered me a draw, which is a very bad moment to offer a draw because I don't have to think. I just respond and the game goes on. If anything, you should have offered a draw in this position after taking my pawn on e4. He should like play bishop takes and offer a draw. And then I would have had to think about it and been like, damn, this is not looking particularly great, right? We're going to trade a bunch of pieces. Now, here's something completely inexplicable happened. Which is just kind of like the story of my chess career. You know, I took on b5 and I did it so quickly that I think it startled him a little bit, because clearly the best move here for black is to take on e4. Not even with the knight, because then you pin yourself. Just bishop e4 in 2 seconds, right? And then, like, I don't know, I have nothing. It's just equal. But I think how quickly I responded to him when he offered me a draw. By respond, you can just play a move. So in amateur tournaments, somebody says, I offer a draw after they make a move. You have to make a move and offer a draw. You can't just offer a draw. You can tell somebody, make your move first. Then the draw offer is valid until you respond or make a move. I think he was a little bit startled by my kind of like complete dono wall. And he went here. And here, I mean, this was just so stupid. This was, I can't even like look at this. I was like, well, he's attacking my knight, and I would love to get my knight to c6, right? I would love to just, you know, knight d4, knight c6. I didn't even think. I just like by hand, I played knight d4. And then I was like, wait a minute. Knight a7. It's the same concept, except he can't stop me from moving to c6 or take my pawn. He has to go rook b6, at which point I go e5, save my pawn, and my knight goes to c6. What am I doing? What am I doing? What is he doing? What is rook b8? Like, this move just completely confused me, and so I just was like, what? I just went here. And then I was sitting at the board like, what the? Why did I go knight a7? Luckily, I didn't actually realize just how good it was. I was like, couldn't I have gone knight a7 and not gotten pinned? But I didn't realize it was just like straight up much better for white. I mean, just like a series of unfortunate events. And then we get to the best part of the game. So he takes my pawn, I attack him, and you know, there's some tactics here. Bishop a3, knight d3. So I pin his knight to his rook. He sacrifices his rook and counterattacks my rook. So check this out. We got 1 rook, 2 rooks, right? 2 rooks just hanging. Now the pace of the game is picking up. I have 25 minutes. He has 29, and every time we make a move, we gain 30 seconds on the clock. So there's no 40th move bonus time, which sometimes is the case in tournaments. And here I was like, hey, so I have a really cool idea. My rook is hanging. His rook is hanging. Now I'm going to attack another rook. Knight c6. There are 3 rooks hanging all at the same time. Talk about that, huh? When's the last time you've seen that? You guys usually hang 1 rook 3 times, but 3 different rooks hanging is definitely fascinating. And here I came up with what I thought was a very clever idea. He took my rook. I gave him my bishop instead of keeping the bishop, because you think, oh, bishops are so important. Not in the endgame. And I was like, yo, I'm going to win this position because I have a 2-on-1 over here. It's almost a 2-on-0. I'm very close to winning that pawn. My knight is extremely annoying too. It's covering very important squares in his position. His rook can't get out. It's really struggling. And within a couple moves, he played a few moves here that made 0 sense. Like bishop f5. I was like, what? So I went rook c1. And the idea was just to go rook c5. And then he went here, and I was like, what? What the, like, huh? I'm gonna like, he was just playing fast. He was playing every move kind of like quickly, trying to put a little bit of clock pressure, or I have no idea what. And then he went here. And at this point I was like, okay, I am much, 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 much better. I am so close to winning that pawn on a5. And, you know, obviously he's looking at bishop b6 ideas, and I was like, okay, I don't want to take right away, because if I take right away, he's going to get his rook into the game. I'm like, I wonder if I can make a few more improving moves before I take that pawn. And the answer is yes, just not the way that I did it. you should probably play a4 because first of all, you're going to get out of the attack of the bishop, and second of all, you're going to get closer to promotion. I went rook b5, which is not a completely stupid move, only slightly stupid, but at least I prevented bishop b6, and he went here, which I knew was a mistake, and in 2 seconds here in a blitz game, I would have gone a4. The idea is that, you want to take on a5, but you don't want him to take on a2. You want to get your pawns together, then you take on a5. You have 2 pawns, and slowly they go up the board. But I was like, maybe he's going to move his bishop, and then he's going to bring in his... I don't know. The thing is, with 19 minutes on the clock, this is like my weakest point, because you have to be super locked in here. You only have 19 minutes for the duration of the game, but you have to convert it. And I was like, do I go a4 now? Again, should have just trusted myself. Instead, I went for a forcing sequence where I just thought I'm winning no matter what, which is rook b8. Rook b8 is actually not winning for the reason I'm about to show you. So check this out. So I just thought, look, I found a way to win the pawn and keep it. Look, I play a4 like this. And I was like, he can't guard this pawn. And when I win the pawn, I'm just up 2 pawns on that side of the board, and they're promoting. And that's what I did, but this position is not winning because I can't get the knight out. If I get the knight out, I'm going to lose this. If I get bishop f1, bishop c4, I'm super chilling. Like, if he goes here and I get to keep the pawns, even this apparently is a draw. That's stupid. But I will never be able to keep the pawns. So I went here and he took, and then, I pushed the pawn, and this is what I had to work with. Even here, I thought I was playing for a win. But as you can see from the time, I was like, yo, he's defending, and he's really starting to annoy me because it looks like I can just promote my pawn, but I can't. He's always just in time with the counterplay against the knight, and then he's going to stop my pawn. And I was like, man, all right, let's get to work. Let's try to win this endgame, even though I'm pretty sure it's a draw. But, let's go. a6, he goes bishop d5. I went knight e5. He went f6. The computer is not suggesting king g8. Is there anything wrong with king g8? Ah, yes. I was setting up the idea here to trade the bishop. So this bishop is removed. And in general, if my knight was left with the pawn versus one of the bishops, I just win. I would not be able to trade, right? So if the bishops are traded and this knight and this pawn are left, then I win because the knight just helps promote. So bishop g2 is always a threat. He kicked me out. I went knight d3. And here, if I go bishop to g2, he just goes bishop c4. So there's no way that he constantly is going to be attacking me over here. So I went knight f4. I thought I came up with a cool maneuver with check and knight to e2. And I was going to try to put my knight on the b5 square. I also, in this position, realized he's playing some bad moves. e5 is horrendous. This is a horrendous move. Because I was just thinking, if he leaves this exactly as is, I have no idea what I'm going to do. I have no clue. Because the thing is, I'm not even threatening to take this bishop. The opposite colored bishop endgame is winnable, but it's probably just a draw because the bishop always saves this, and I'm never walking my king to b7. It's just never going to happen. He's completely going to... But when he went e5, I was like, I think I'm going to win the game. So I went knight c3, he went here, and I was like, yo, I think I'm going to win the game. He has a nice idea here. If I try to trade his bishop, he was going to go after my knight. And then I would take his bishop, and then he would take my knight, and he would be just in time to stop the promotion. It was very, very defensively sound, but tactically. King f1, king f8. And at this point, I was like, wait a minute. No. I'm winning. I have a feeling I'm winning. What I'm going to do is I'm going to play bishop e4, but I'm going to do it and defend my bishop with a pawn. I'm going to go king e2, f3, bishop e4. Then I'm going to successfully trade into that endgame, leave myself with the knight and the bishop, and I'm going to try to get over here and eat these pawns because this is Swiss cheese. This doesn't look particularly good, right? So I went king e2, king to e7, right? I went f3 here. Now, I spent 1 minute and 40 seconds on the move f3. At this point, the commotion was already starting. Basically, we're sitting in a room, it's just me and Elliot, maybe one other game, and then in the back is actually the game on the first board, the very first board. It's Zhou Chao, who's a Chinese grandmaster, but now I think he represents the US. Maybe he doesn't represent the US, but he's played a bunch in America, and I think he lives here now. So he's playing on board 1 against Michael Rode. Michael Rode is a grandmaster. He's been around for a long, long time. He used to be extremely high rated, and he's still very strong. So they're having some, I don't know what's going on, but it's like loud. It's loud. And Elliot, because he has 11 minutes, goes to see what's going on, because also he's, it's not his move, and he wants, like, there's a whole thing happening in the same room. I got 90 seconds to figure out this endgame, right? So I'm trying to lock in. I'm like, F3, he comes back, he plays bishop. I'm like, I think I'm winning. I think I figured out the position, and as you can see from the evaluation, I did, right? Everything that I did is coming true. He goes king d6. Now I have 1 minute and 9 seconds, right? Now, literally at this exact moment, the commotion spills into the hallway, and I'm sitting, the hallway is right here. So I'm right next to the hallway. They are arguing with the arbiter in the hallway, but there's a language barrier because Judge and Chow speaks Chinese, probably as a first language. So there is a translator, and the players are arguing, and there's an arbiter, and I got a minute to play the right move. So I'm thinking okay, I can take the bishop, takes, and then I start bringing in my king. But why wouldn't I improve my king's position and then trade, right? But if I do this now, maybe I can also go g4. Time is ticking, 30 seconds. Super arguing, and I just move my king, and now it's a draw. And that was really annoying because when I moved my king, I realized, oh my God, he can move his bishop. In the previous position, he couldn't retreat his bishop because I would have forked him. And so when he went here and I moved my king, I was like, well, he still can't move his bishop, but he can. There's no fork. And I was like, oh my, but I didn't know that it was +4 and all this. And then now it's equal. It's equal. Even though I've made all of the improvements and it looks like I can get my knight here and get in my king and everything, it's just. And he went king c5. This was maybe the last chance if I played a little more accurately. I went bishop f5. I set another little trap like trading pieces here, trying to get my knight to e4. And even here, I thought I set a pretty clever-ish trap, which is a fork. This is just a pure fork. I thought if he takes, he might lose this endgame. This might be losable. But no, probably not. Probably not. And he went here. And now, despite me having all of this activity and that pawn on a6 and everything, I can't win. I cannot win, right? Knight takes f6, bishop f3, bishop e4, bishop d1. We trade off a bunch of pawns. And it looks like I can still win a pawn, but he did a nice little idea here. He went after my pawn. And even though I can win his, it's going to be a draw. I went king f6, offered him a draw. And I drew. That was a hard-fought battle. Credit to my opponent. I think he played very well, particularly defensively on the clock. He made it difficult for me to make decisions, and I felt like I was winning, but I couldn't, I couldn't, find the knockout. And it's story of my life. But this is so many games in a row that I've played now where I haven't even had a worse position. I'm just cruising. I'm having a great time, good game, and it really sucks that I was distracted there and I had low time. If I had 3 minutes on the clock when all that was going on, maybe I could have locked in a bit better, but that's how it goes sometimes, but a very exciting round. It would have been nice to win, but that's life. And that's all I have for you today. Shout out to all of you participating in the holiday challenge on Chessly, and I'll see you for the round 3 recap. Get out of here.